Hey everybody, welcome back to Highway B35. This is David, and today what we're going to do is we're going to take our feeders off of our hives and we're going to put on these candy boards. So let's get started. Well, we start out by smoking the entrance. There, that is a yellow jacket, so I was going to smash it, but it flew off. Let's take the lid off here. Checking for small hive beetles. They usually start crawling out of the cracks and crevices after a few minutes, and then they'll be on the board. Gonna kind of inspect a little bit up in here to see if there's any running around. I see some ladybugs. Yeah, they're up here, but we're gonna go ahead and take this puppy off. Luckily, there's not a whole lot of bees up in this feeder. That's what I was kind of worried about, because I'm going to take this off, and I don't want them to be stuck in the feeder. So I'm going to kind of shake them, and then we'll just kind of leave the feeder at the entrance for a little bit. It's been kind of hard figuring out when to do this today, because this is like the last warm day that I can see on the forecast for a long time. Look at all these bees. I'm going to try to bang these a little bit. Nope, that didn't work. And it's got them all upset at me. All right, well, for now, I'm just going to try to set this up against the hive. Yeah. Let me smoke these gals a bit more. Sorry. They're upset at me. All right. So, a little bit about the candy board. Each candy board is 16 pounds of sugar. The way you mix it is you need 3 cups of water and about a tablespoon of vinegar. The vinegar acts to make sure that it doesn't mold. But 16 pounds of sugar is like a little bit of an insurance policy for the bees over the winter in case they don't have enough honey. So that's a lot of weight onto these frames. So what we've got here are these little shims or slats to go on top. And this will maintain the bee space, so the bees will still be able to climb up on top of these frames while the candy board is on top. Now, the neat thing about this board is, if you'll see here in the front, there's actually a hole. So what I did was, this specific model comes from Weller Bee Supply, and you can look for them. There's a video online about these and about how to make the candy board and everything, which we'll cover here a little bit. But if you want more information, that guy is like super knowledgeable about this, and he'll explain it on there also. But what I've also found from other beekeepers is that during the winter, it's good to have an extra entrance at the top, so that if you want to wrap your hive, you can cover the bottom entrance and have just this top entrance. So what they've supplied are just some blocks of wood that you sit down in here while you're placing the honey, or not the honey, the sugar on top, so that it'll allow for ventilation. I've got a hole here, and a hole here. And then this also acts as another entrance for the bees to go in and out to do their cleansing flights. During the winter, they've still got to use the bathroom, so they do that every once in a while on warm days. So that's going to allow them to come in and out. There's a screen on the bottom, but the screen's big enough for the bees to come up through, just to keep, but it just kind of keeps this sugar board intact. So yeah, so here's another entrance for the winter. And a big thing during the winter also you'll find is that they have a lot of condensation, a lot of moisture that builds up, and that rises up to the top. This candy board is also going to allow for the condensation to be soaked up into the sugar, and so it doesn't drip back down onto the bees, because once it rises up here it gets cold, and if it drips back down onto the bees it's going to kill them. So we don't want that. So this will absorb that moisture and also act as a supplementary feed for the bees. So also I wanted to talk a little bit about, on our last video we found no brood. What my hope is, and what my mentor, or one of my mentors, has taught me, is that she's probably done for the winter. So that's not a big deal. We did find a little bit of brood on the other hive, so I think that's a little bit of a young queen. Maybe she's just not done laying for the season, but her brood pattern's also not that strong either. So probably just a difference between the two hives. At any rate, I'm going to go ahead. We're going to leave this out for a little bit. I'm going to look again for small hive beetles. Nothing. So, you know what? Oh, you see there's already a bee coming up through the top here. But yeah, so hopefully this seems pretty solid on top here, to where nobody's going to get up and underneath like earlier this season.
Ew.
Yeah. So I'll put the weight back on here, and we'll see you at the next hive. It's kind of crazy. The weather's been super cloudy today, and like I said, I don't think we're going to get up into the 60s anymore for the year, unless some kind of crazy front comes in later on in November. Tomorrow is November 1st. So, oh boy. Yeah, these bees are all up in this feeder. They are nutty up here, and like I said in the video before, they've got comb up in here. So after I do this, I don't know what day, I might make another video where I'm cleaning this out, because there is a ton of comb, and I'm just curious to see if I can get that all cleaned out for next season. So yeah, we'll see what we can do about getting these bees out of here, kind of like we did over there, but there's just a lot more. They're already starting to go back down in there because they don't like the light. But yeah, we'll keep an eye on this. For small hive beetles. Yeah, the idea of this candy board just makes me a lot more comfortable with these bees over the winter, because I was not 100% certain that I had fed them enough this fall, and I wasn't sure if they had enough honey. But knowing that you can use these feeders, or these candy boards.
Oh, there's tons on there.
What's that?
There's tons on the bottom.
Oh yeah. We won't lay it down on the bottom. We'll just leave it like that. I'm kind of curious to see what the small hive beetle traps are like right now, but I don't really want to put the time into prying them up and all that jazz, so we'll just leave it how it is. We'll go ahead and scrape a little bit of stuff off the top of here, like, because there's a bunch of dead bees that are just stuck here. And they shouldn't be stuck there all winter. That's really cool. Not the dead bees, but the propolis, extra propolis there. Make sure that make sure that our extra hole there for the entrance is in the front where it should be. It's so neat making these candy boards because you don't get it like really wet. You just get it enough to where it's moldable, and it really what it looks like and feels like is like a really wet snow. So it's just really a fun and neat experience to have. So yeah, I'll go into a little bit of how you make it. So what you need is 16 pounds of sugar. What that equates to is, I did the math, so a pound of sugar is 2 1/4 cups. So that is 36 cups of sugar. And then you do it in halves so that you can mix the water in better. So you do a cup and a half of water with, you mix the 3 cups of water in with the tablespoon of vinegar. And then you split that up into a cup and a half each. So a cup and a half of water in with your 8 pounds of sugar, or 18 cups of sugar. And then you mix it up until you get that consistency, and then you put these blocks in here to create these holes. Hey, little bee. Like I said, for the ventilation and for this entrance here. So I must have something that she likes on there. She's a little bitty thing. Anyway, so yeah, and you do that twice for each board to cover the whole thing. The big thing is, for me, I had a bad experience with the, man, she's really just loving my glove here. Might be the warmth or something. So anyway, you just put those in there. I've got a couple of blocks that I do for those holes, and that's about it. So yeah, I'm gonna check this lid for more hive beetles. I don't see any. This little bee. Bing. Oh no, bing. There we go. I think there's one down in there. Let's see. So yeah, that might be one. Might already be dead. One thing that makes me a little bit nervous about it being warm out yet and all that is that this does create, actually, wait, oh no, I don't know what we're going to do about this. So my outer cover is actually covering this extra hole up here. So I'm going to have to figure out something around that. Might put the feeder back on later. The Weller Bee Supply folks, what they do is they'll take their feeders like this. They have almost the exact same feeder I do, and they'll fill that feeder with wood shavings or sawdust for extra added insulation on the top, and it also will soak in some of that moisture we talked about earlier. So I might end up getting some wood shavings or sawdust to put in there, and then put that back on after I get it all cleaned out and everything. That won't be for the bees to feed or go into or anything, but it'll add a little bit more space so that they can go in and out of that extra hole there. But I've got some time for that. It's not gonna, we're not gonna be opening it up during, you know, the cold, and it's gonna freeze everybody. So it can be 50-some degrees, and that shouldn't be a big deal. So, all right. At any rate, I hope you liked the video. If you do, hit that like button below. Make sure to leave a comment. Why don't you tell me where you're from? That would be really cool, just to learn the audience a little bit. And then also, don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell so that you don't miss any of the further videos. Thank you so much for watching. It's been a big learning experience. I really appreciate it, and hope to see you next time as we travel down Highway B35. Bye.